All right, let's talk about artificial intelligence. But I don't mean some sci-fi movie concept set in the distant future. We're talking about right now, today. Because in 2025, the great reordering of our world, the one powered by AI, well, it isn't just coming anymore, it's already here.
I want to start with a number that really tells the whole story: 78%. That's how many organizations around the world have already industrialized AI, meaning they're using it in at least one part of their business. This isn't just about a few tech companies playing around anymore. Nope, this is a full-on industrial revolution.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. We've got to stop thinking about AI as just another app on our phones. It's becoming the new electricity, the new internet. It's the foundational layer that our entire global economy is being built on top of.
So how do we even begin to wrap our heads around a shift this massive? Well, here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to talk about what some are calling the age of cognitive industrialization. Then we'll take a peek inside the digital mind. After that, we'll see AI in action right now. We'll get into the new productivity dilemma it's creating. And finally, we'll look at what's really at stake for all of us.
Okay, first up, the age of cognitive industrialization. It sounds kind of fancy, but the idea is simple. We've officially moved past the science project phase. We are now in an era of scaling up AI, plugging it directly into the core of the global economic engine. So what's fueling this incredible speed? Just look at this jump, from 55% adoption in 2023 to 78% today. It's all being driven by one thing: absolutely massive gains in productivity. The research shows that companies that go all in on AI are seeing growth that just blows their competitors out of the water. We're talking nearly 5 times faster.
And let me be clear, this isn't just a Silicon Valley story. Not at all. This is happening everywhere. Take Brazil, for instance. Its tech market is projected to soar to almost $97 billion this year, and the main things driving that are AI and cloud computing. It's a perfect example of how countries are using AI to basically leapfrog old ways of doing things.
Okay, so we know AI is everywhere, but how does this stuff actually work? In this next part, we're going to go under the hood and look at the building blocks of the modern AI. Don't worry, we're going to keep it simple and just focus on what you really need to know. So, a super quick history lesson. AI is not new. I mean, its official birthday was way back in 1956. For decades, it was pretty basic, just following rigid rules. But then, the game started to change with machine learning, then deep learning, and finally, 2017, the invention of the transformer architecture. That was the big bang moment. That's what made everything we see today possible.
But you know, software is only half the picture. This whole revolution runs on some seriously specialized hardware. GPUs are the workhorses. They do the heavy lifting of training these huge models. TPUs are like custom-built race cars, designed to make AI work at massive scale in the cloud. And then there's the really wild stuff, neuromorphic chips. They're literally inspired by the human brain, which makes them super energy efficient and perfect for things like robots and smart devices.
So let's go back to that software breakthrough I mentioned, the transformer. What's its superpower? It's something called attention. Now think about it this way. Older models read a sentence one word at a time, kind of like a toddler. A transformer, though, can see the entire paragraph at once and understand how every single word relates to every other word. The paper that introduced it was called Attention is All You Need. And well, they weren't kidding.
And here is where this technology becomes truly incredible. Google's AlphaFold 3, which is built on these ideas, can now predict the structure of pretty much all of life's molecules. We're talking DNA, proteins, the whole shebang. And it's doing it with 50% more accuracy than anything that came before it, completely changing how we can discover new drugs for diseases like cancer. This is AI solving the fundamental puzzles of science.
I mean, that jump from a software idea to solving one of biology's biggest mysteries just shows how fast this is all moving. So let's look at where else this is making a real impact. In this section, we'll dive into how AI is already changing key parts of our economy and our lives right now.
In the world of business, AI is basically an efficiency machine. It's automating all those boring digital tasks that used to take humans hours. It's predicting what customers are going to want to buy next. And, maybe most importantly, it's scanning trillions, with a T, of financial transactions in real time to stop fraud before it happens. It's making business faster, smarter, and a whole lot safer. But where you see the most profound impact is in healthcare. AI can now spot diseases in medical scans better than human experts. It's making robotic surgery more precise than ever. And we're walking into a new era of personalized medicine, where treatments are designed specifically for your unique genetic code. It's just incredible.
And hey, even our governments are getting in on this. AI is helping run traffic and power grids in smart cities, creating educational tools that adapt to how each individual student learns, and building better climate models to predict natural disasters. It's all about creating better, more responsive public services.
Now, all this progress, it sounds amazing, right? But it brings us to the central conflict of our time, what I'm calling the new productivity dilemma. Because for every incredible gain we make, a new systemic risk seems to pop up that we have to deal with.
So let's start with the good stuff, the upside. The productivity boom is just staggering. Studies show that when people use generative AI, they can finish their tasks up to 50% faster. We're seeing brand new jobs being created, like prompt engineer. And the economic impact could be huge, potentially adding 1.3 percentage points to global GDP growth every single year.
But here comes the downside. That same efficiency could displace about 7% of the entire workforce. There's a huge risk that we accidentally train these systems on our own historical biases, and then they just amplify them at a massive scale. Training these models takes an astronomical amount of energy. And maybe the scariest of all is the threat of deepfakes being used to create disinformation on an industrial scale.
So trying to navigate this dilemma has become a global game of chess, and you've got three main players with three totally different strategies. The US is basically betting on the free market to innovate its way to the top. China is playing a much more state-controlled game, focusing on national security. In the European Union, it's kind of acting like the referee, trying to write the rule book to protect people's rights.
And what's really important to see here is that this change isn't happening evenly. You've got sectors like finance and retail that are just sprinting ahead, while others, like the public sector, are moving a lot slower. This creates what you could call a two-speed economy, and that's dangerous, because it can make the gaps that already exist in our society even wider.
So, this brings us to our final and most important section, the future at stake. When you look at everything we've talked about, the incredible power, the unbelievable promise, and the very real dangers, how do we navigate the path forward responsibly?
Well, the key thing to remember is that this needs action from everyone, on every level. Governments have to invest in the right infrastructure and in education to get their citizens ready. Companies absolutely must build responsible AI practices into their DNA from day one. And for us as individuals, our job is to build up the skills that AI can't do, things like critical thinking, creativity, and collaborating with these new tools.
And that really leaves us with this one final critical question. Is this technology going to augment humanity, making us better, smarter, more capable? Or is it going to replace us, automating away the very things that make us human? You know, the most important part of that question isn't the answer. It's who gets to decide, and that decision includes all of us.
And look, it is so important to remember that this field is moving at lightning speed. What we've talked about today is a snapshot of right now. A year from now, the whole landscape could look totally different. The only thing that's certain is change. Thanks so much for joining me.